Hi, my name is Bridget Webster, and I've been a teacher for many, many years. And during that time, I taught a phonics program to my preschoolers, and I taught them their letters and letter sounds. And I created a program that was very successful. They went on to learn to read pretty quickly, and my goal was actually just to help them feel successful in their learning of their letters and letter sounds, and then maybe make it a little easier for them when they went on to blend those letters together to make words. And there were several components to this phonics program, and I'd like to share those with you now. We would learn an animal cheer for each letter of the alphabet. This animal is alligator owl. All the animals' names start with whatever letter we're working on. We would do this cheer for a whole week. Everything I'm showing you, we would do for a week. My preschoolers only came 3 days a week, so if yours come 5 days a week, you might want to accelerate this program. And they learn the cheer, and learning the cheer, the first part of the cheer incorporates the letter and the letter sound. So for instance, and the sign language, this would be A for alligator owl. If they don't remember the rest of the cheer, it doesn't matter. It's just introducing the sound that the letter makes in kind of a fun way that they might be interested in. And then also I would show the letter, and we would guess what starts with the letter on this page. And then they would learn the sign language for each letter. And while we did the cheer, we would do the sign language as well. And that just made them made it a little bit more active learning. Along with that, we would open up a book, an ABC book, and we would look at things that start with that letter, and they would name things for me. I wouldn't name them for them, but in my program, I don't have kids here, my online program, so I'm naming the things in the book. And then once they named a bunch of things in the book, we would close the book, and then they would tell me things they remembered, and I would put a laminated object up on the wall that started with whatever letter we were on. This happens to be an apple. And then I would write on the apple, or whatever the laminated object was, the words that they would tell me that they remembered that started with the letter A. So that was the second part of the program. The next part of the program we called rainbow writing. Rainbow writing is simply, I had a notebook for each child, and then I put their name on the front, and on the inside I would I would write the letter, the capital and lowercase for each letter as we went through the alphabet. I would put a red dot on where their pen should begin the letter, and then I would show them which way to make the letter. Now, I did another component of this that I don't have on my online teaching, and that was I used a whiteboard to start with, and I made the letter in the air, and they would draw it as they sat at their seat in the air as I drew it on the whiteboard. And then later, when we had art time, or a time away from circle time, is when they would write in their notebooks. And we called it rainbow writing because they would pick at least 3 colors of felt pens or crayons. It didn't matter which, but I was picky about the way they formed their letters. So I would just watch them form their letters and help them as they went. I usually would do this with 1 or 2 children at a time. They could trace many times. They wanted to trace it more than 3 times, and that was fine. They had to do it at least 3 times to kind of get the idea down. Then we would turn the page over, and on the back they would draw something that they wanted to draw that started with the letter A. We didn't care about what it looked like. There was no pressure. Whatever they wrote was great, you know, was very positive, and then I would write what they drew a picture of. And then we went through the whole alphabet this way, as I do in my program online, and they would just, at the end of the year, they would get to take their notebook home. So that is rainbow writing. So that's that's the third component of my phonics program. Another component of my phonics program is at the end of the week, after we had done the cheer all week about alligators, we would learn all about alligators. So I would get several books from the library, fact books about alligators, and I would read those to them. And then I would close the books, and then they would tell me things that they remembered. And it was a great way to encourage comprehension, paying attention, being able to talk about what you learned. And I would type up pages that they had told me. For instance, I have 2 pages of alligator information. And then I would send that home to the parents, and it was called the What I Know pages. And this is what I know about alligators. Well, I did this for 15 years of my preschool program, and I compiled 15 years and condensed 15 years of responses from preschoolers into a book form. And each page, I usually have 2 pages of information. That's very, I had to really narrow that down for 15 years of responses. Some were similar, but I don't have any repeats in these. And then I would also include a picture of the animal in it as well, so that the kids could see what the animal looked like in the book. Anyway, I titled this book Children on Safari because it's all about animals and learning about animals and animal facts. So I thought a safari is a good way to encourage children to read this or be read to. It's all animal facts from alligators to zebras, and it's taught by children. And I think that's a real motivational tool. Is children, I think, like learning from other children and like hearing what they have to say. And I think it's great for them to see that other children can teach people things too, and they can teach people things too. And so when my preschoolers would tell me things about what they learned, I would type it up, send it home, and they'd share it with their families. It's very empowering for them and it's very fun for the families. And so that's what that component of the phonics program is about. Another thing that we would do with the phonics program is the children would bring objects from home that began with whatever letter we were working on. For instance, for the letter A, they might bring an apple, or an avocado, or an alligator, or an astronaut. This was left up to them. They didn't have to. It wasn't mandatory. It was just an offering. Most of them participated because they enjoyed gathering things, and sometimes older siblings or parents would help them gather things at home. And it was kind of fun because it became their sharing each day. In the video, I don't have the children here when I'm teaching online, so I gathered things and had them in a bag and had the kids try and guess what started with that by giving clues, whatever letter we were on. So that was another component of the program that kind of made it very interactive. So that was basically the program, and it worked great. So my whole goal in creating this phonics program was to help my preschoolers learn to read. This is the first step in it. The next step, I would put word family words on the board. Actually, I would put them on the wall. And for instance, cat, hat, fat, sat, mat, nat. And we would start blending the letters after we finished all of the A to Z phonics program. This A to Z phonics program, to finish it, took us close to the springtime. Usually in springtime, right around spring break, is where we ended up with our letters and letter sounds. And then from that time forward, we were blending small words. You know, we were trying to read small 3-letter, some 4-letter, mostly 3-letter words. And it was just a great way to teach because it teaches to both ends of the spectrum. Because if kids are not ready to blend, when we're blending those 3-letter words, they're still getting the letter sounds. It's a good review for them of the letter sounds. So anyway, it was very successful. I had a lot of parents tell me that this made reading much easier for their children when they went on to future schooling. And because it was so successful, and because I spent 35 years developing it, I wanted to share it with others, be it parents, be it teachers, be it grandparents, you know, whoever wants to tap into this. I think it's good. There's not a lot of bells and whistles. My animals are well loved. 35 years of them playing with these and using them, and you know, being with around children. It's just a tried and true program. I just think that phonics is really important, and if I can help anyone, any children out there, you know, with their letters and their letter sounds, then I will feel like I've been a success.